Hey, what is up? How's it all going? Welcome to the Creative Time Chamber show, the 5-minute show taking you from shy creative to confident creative. Now, this episode is mistake number 3, which is part of a 10-part series which I'm discussing mistakes I made in 2018. You should avoid this year as a growing creative. So, being indecisive. First up, raise your hands if you're an indecisive person. So in 2018, I failed to make any firm decisions about my creative and career growth. When I was faced with a relatively important decision, my go-to answer for the longest time was, it's up to you. I used to say it so much, this answer rubbed onto my circle of friends, and sometimes we would all push the decision onto someone else, which was quite hilarious at times, depending on what needed a decision. Now, how does being indecisive affect your creative growth and potentially cause problems in other areas of your life? Well, you lose the ability to control your actions and you let everyone else's happiness go first before making your own choices, and you also show a lack of self-confidence. Why should you step up and be that person to decide then? Because I get it. Allowing decisions to rest in someone else's hands takes a lot of the pressure away. We don't want the responsibility of the weight our decisions hold. And we also don't want to be wrong, because nobody likes being wrong. And that's what I was doing. I was avoiding the feeling of being wrong. I was afraid of people looking to me for an answer, knowing that I could be wrong. But being right all the time is just not realistic. And it took plenty of failures to realize this, which is why I hope after this episode you can practice being decisive and trust yourself to make the right decision. It's difficult, especially if you are the kind of person who thinks a lot about what other people might say, feel, or react. And whatever the answer is, you become content with whatever the outcome may be. So I'll give a non-creative example. Have you seen a couple, quote unquote, discuss over what to eat? Usually, conversation would start with the female asking, "What shall we eat?" And immediately, being the guy, and I've experienced this, panic starts to enter our bodies, start sweating, and in the moment, this decision becomes the most important thing in the world. And how I used to typically respond when something like this, anything, it's up to you. Now, I did become better at replying to this question. I started to say things like, I have some options, but what have you been craving recently? Or, I think I know what to eat, but what's on your mind? So it seemed like I was being considerate, yet the decision was still led by the other person, whereas really the answer should be coming from me. And you may think, it's just food, but when this indecision becomes habit and starts to infiltrate other areas like your creative business, then there's a lot more at stake than a disagreement between ramen and burgers. When the stakes are higher, then the consequences of our decision become larger, and therefore we crumble under the pressure to decide. Making decisions is stressful, and I still have to take a moment before giving an answer. However, making decisions force you to move in a direction. And this direction is beneficial for both sides, because indecision leaves everyone stuck, whether that situation is in a company or in a relationship. People can't move forward if they don't know what's going on in your mind. So as we continue to train in the creative time chamber, failure is the key to growth. And if you are struggling to become decisive and you want to feel less stressed with making decisions, I've been using one technique that's helped me so far. So I want you to start with your gut. So immediately gauge how you feel when you pick an answer. If you feel your stomach turn, then that could be a sign the decision isn't the right one. So for a split second, using your gut, you forget about the long term, you avoid creating scenarios, and the decision becomes all about how you feel in that moment. And I found this gut instinct has relieved a lot of stress when it comes to decision making. Using my gut feeling has left me in crappy positions in the past, admittedly. But ultimately, you're telling the truth. And what I've realized is you're not responsible for someone else's feelings. I hope to encourage you. If you want to make real impact, then taking the lead, being uncomfortable, being your own leader, and making decisions that will propel you forward. Being a confident creative requires growth and improvement. And when you take the responsibility to make a decision, your self-confidence starts to build. So to end this episode, here are 3 things I did to become a little more decisive and to start building confidence again. As well as using your gut, trust to act like the decision you make is the best decision right now. To build your confidence, try to take on more responsibility in your day job, your passion projects, and just in life in general. This is because the wrong decisions, aka the mistakes, will help you grow as much as making the right decisions. And lastly, if you do need more time to make a decision and you have a good read on the situation, simply say you need more time. Be rational, but not rash. And that is it for this episode of the Creative Time Chamber. Let me know how you get on, and has any of these tips worked for you? I'm eager to hear, so drop a comment below. And if you want to chat with me, hit me up on @the CT Chamber on Twitter. So thanks so much for listening. This is the Creative Time Chamber, where you enter shy and leave confident. Take it easy.